Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, ranking all the defensive badges in NBA 2K22 Next Gen in tiers S through F. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties. All good stuff. Let's try this 1 to 1,000 likes. So to get straight into this, without further ado, we have one badge in the F tier, and this can be off-ball pest. Now my reasoning for off-ball pest being so low on this list, it's not even a horrible badge. I just do think that your utility and the usefulness of it is going to be so rare that it's just not even ever going to be worth you running it. However, there may be a very specific role that you have in terms of maybe pro-am or something like that. You want to halt people from getting back doors off the corner or the wings and stuff like that. It's somewhat understandable in the pro-am setting, and like I said, this is more so just because of the usefulness and utility of it. I do think the badge is good at doing what you want it to do in terms of stopping people from backdooring you or just moving around and maybe just, you know, face guarding people essentially when it comes to off-ball defense. But overall, just the badge utility, it's not there. You really don't need to run this in almost any setting that you do, and I feel like you're just wasting badge points by running this badge. So in the E tier, we got ankle braces and tireless defender. Now, my opinion on ankle braces, I don't think the badge is completely horrible. The only reason I have it so low is because I feel like the way that the offensive meta is constructed right now, and really just from top to bottom, from the best players to the worst players, I feel like essentially movement is more of the key rather than actually going for ankle breakers or dribbling in your defender's face and stuff like that, because obviously if you're doing so, you're gonna get the ball stolen inevitably with the way that steals are constructed right now. And also, again, just going for ankle breakers, obviously you got to do snatchbacks, little hezzies and stuff, any dribble move that's going to make you prone to getting the ball stolen from you. So I don't think ankle breaker is worth running at this point of the game, and inevitably with that, it makes ankle braces not worth running either. Now, if they patch stealing and stuff like that, or the pluck steals especially, then ankle breaker becomes a little bit more viable, and then ankle braces becomes a little bit more viable. But last year's game in 2K21 Next Gen, the badge still didn't do anything. People would run it on Hall of Fame and would still be getting their ankles broke on Pro-Am, in Park, whatever the case may be. And really the only thing this badge is going to do is probably help you against the shot takeover, where it's just going to, you know, ankle breaking shots pretty much. But even at that, I don't even know if that's really avoidable because it's just the takeover. I don't know if the badge is really going to help you that much. So anyway, ankle braces, pretty low. For tireless defender, it's more of a option badge. Like if you're someone who has low stamina, this is a decent badge for you. I ran it on bronze last year in Pro-Am because I had 25 stamina on my build. However, that's a whole different year that we're talking about. In that one, you can get away with the low stamina. In this year's game, if you made anything with less than like 80 stamina, I think you're crazy. It doesn't cost that much to put on your build, and with that as well, makes it so tireless defender is not as useful either, because if you have good stamina, you don't exactly need this badge. I recommend the highest you run this on probably be bronze if you're somebody who has decent stamina and you just want to see your player get better animations, stuff like that on defense, because obviously the more stamina you have, the better animation you can get. In terms of chase down blocks, rebounds, you know, any type of shot block, to be completely honest with you, and really just movement in general. If your player is lower on stamina, you're moving slower, you're not jumping as higher. It's about as simple as that, really. So now into the D tier. We got ball stripper and hustler. Now, again, a lot of this whole defensive talk that we're going to have here with all these badges, as we were just talking about with like off-ball pest and ankle braces and stuff like that. And what I'm also going to say about ball stripper is if people don't run the badge that corresponds with doing it, or they don't do the gameplay motion a lot, for instance, the off-ball cuts and stuff like that from the corners and wings, and it's just not important to have that, right? Again, for this, in my opinion, there are not a lot of slashers out here playing 2K22 Next Gen, if we're being completely honest with you guys. And that is just how it is. And I really don't think you need ball stripper. If you're just running around out here on 3s, 2s, Pro-Am, whatever the case may be, and you just got ball stripper on at all times, I think that's just a waste of a badge. Now, if you know, this is going to be a rare situation, but if you know you're pulling up on somebody who's running with a slasher, or you're playing 1v1 court or something like that, maybe, then it's a possibility to run ball stripper. But it's very rare that you're going to see many people going for contested dunks in this game. That's just how it is right now. Maybe it'll change as a lot of people kind of learn the dunk meter and then they realize that they want to make a slasher or something like that if they've figured out a little bit. But as of right now, you really have no reason to run ball stripper unless you know for a fact that you're going to be playing a slasher or somewhere that slashers hang around a lot. But honestly, badge just not really necessary. It is very good though. I've ran into it myself as a pure slasher myself. Like I have 25 3-pointer on my main build, and I didn't have unstrippable on my player at the moment, and I was playing 1v1 court, and the dude was just running ball stripper. He was sitting underneath the hoop and just spamming X when I would go for the dunk, and I'm telling you, bro, it was probably like 7 times in a row. So the badge definitely does what you want it to do, but again, you just don't run into many slashers, so I feel like your need for it is very low. Again, if you're just rolling on regular 2s, 3s, just anything like that, you're going to be wasting a lot of badge points in most games that you play against people. Alright, so for Hustler, I decided to just actually pop the badge description on for this one, and I want to show you guys what it says. So, improves the ability to beat opponents to loose balls. Now, what I'm really curious with this badge is if that works for the offensive end as well. So, for instance, if you were an offensive player and you got plucked, and you have Hustler, but the defender who plucked you didn't have Hustler, I'm wondering if that also helps you as the offensive player to get the ball and get the loose ball faster than he would. Now, pretty much the way that I see that is it's very unlikely that that's the case because this is a defensive badge, so I'm assuming it's only for the defensive end. All things considered, I probably could have put Hustler in the C tier. I just felt it didn't belong up there with the 3 badges that I have in that category, and it just felt a little bit underpowered in terms of that. Now, to be fair as well, the only thing I've ran this badge on is at most silver. I feel like it's just never ever going to be worth you running actually like 6 or 7 badge points on your defensive end to have a badge like this. Now, it's really nice. I feel like if the utility of it on bronze is good enough to get a couple loose balls like that when you get plucks, then it's pretty decent. And then on top of that too, if you're a lockdown who is just steel made, like you are coming out here spamming X every single play, no hate if that is the case. A little bit of hate, but no hate. Anyway, if you're someone who's just spamming X every single play and you're relying on steals to win you games, maybe Hustler is worth it because you can just double down on the fact that you'll get the loose balls that maybe don't plop right into your hand. So just keep that in mind. The utility depends on who it is. And if this works on the offensive end too, it could also be the counter to the fact that you are getting plucked, but you could get the ball back quicker. I highly doubt that's the case. I might even ask one of my point guards to run all their defensive badge points on Hustler, just to test that. And this is an early on badge indication and kind of evaluation. So what I'm trying to do with this video is help you guys kind of guide your way through what you're putting on for your badges and stuff like that. So I will update you if I think Hustler actually works on offense, or if I think it's very well worth running or anything like that. Or same with, again, if ankle braces becomes more valid, if slashers become more of a meta and sort of thing that you see in the game and stuff like that. I'll let you know all this stuff. But as of right now, how the game is currently constructed and how I view certain badges, this is what this tier list is made up out of. So now I got the C tier. So like I was saying, I don't think Hustler really is in the same category as these 3 badges right here. They're pretty good utility badges. Now, they're very specific with what you're going against here. So for instance, Pick Dodger, obviously completely useless if you're playing someone with ISO. Post Lockdown, completely useless if you're not playing a post scorer. And then Defensive Leader is more of a utility badge if you're kind of the help guy, so to say. And it's very rare that you're in a situation that this is going to be something super useful, because what would be perfect is if you were the point guard and you had this and you could help your lockdown and your big man in terms of their defensive attributes. But it's very, very rare that you'll ever be a point guard that has a high enough defensive attribute to have Defensive Leader on Hall of Fame or anything like that. So that's super rare. If you're a big man and your lockdown likes to fight through screens and stuff like that, it's pretty viable to run this, I will say. But overall, Defensive Leader, it's a good badge. It's just really hard to find the right person to run it for and all types of stuff like that. But for Pro-Am, absolute must. Somebody on the court needs to have this on at least gold, because you're wasting a lot of potential attributes being boosted across your entire team if you don't have anybody with Defensive Leader on. So to come back to Pick Dodger, and we'll make this pretty quick because these are pretty self-explanatory badges right here, but to come back to Pick Dodger, again, it's decent at getting you through screens. I would just say though, it's kind of frustrating when you put this on Hall of Fame and you spend like up to 6 or 7 defensive badge points on this, and then it's still not even that useful. Sometimes you might even still be switching with your big man on screens and stuff like that, and you're just like, why am I even running 7 Hall of Fame badge points on a Pick Dodger? That's not even helping me get through screens that well. So I feel like the badge's effectiveness, not that good, but I also do feel like it's kind of a needed badge, so just by default it finds its way into at least the C tier. But I've been a little bit disappointed with how it helps me get through screens, but maybe that's just me unintentionally running right into the big man on the pick when I need to actually maneuver myself around the pick, whether it's above or under the screen, and it might just be user error when it comes to that, and I'm just playing bad defense. So just keep that in mind. So post lockdown, I want to bring this to your guys' attention, and I have it on the screen as you can see, but I just want to read this for you guys. So strengthens a player's ability to effectively defend moves in the post. We know that, obviously. The post spins and drop steps, they're super lethal, and I will say, you even just being able to counter that with your build will be super effective for you. But obviously, this is more of a 2v2 badge or a 1v1 badge. Now, I'm not saying it's useless by any means. This is definitely in the C tier. It could be a little bit higher as well, and we'll talk about the second part that really could make it a lot higher. And again, I will bring this to you guys' attention if I see a lot of differences with this or I get more testing on it. I've had a lot of people asking me about badges and stuff like that, and I didn't want to leave you guys just in the dark and completely like high and dry with it. But again, I will bring this to your attention if I find more testing with it, where it says with an increased chance at stripping the opponent. Now, I'm wondering if that means just plucking them when they have the ball in the post. And I don't know if anybody else will struggle with this, but me with almost 90 steal on my build and, you know, gold pickpocket and stuff like that, it has been really frustrating playing post scores because I just cannot pluck them for the life of me. I'm talking they're just holding LT. You know, obviously post control is what determines that, right? But they'll probably have like 40 ball handle or like 30 ball handle, and you just cannot steal the ball from them. And it's super frustrating. But I'm wondering if this will help you with plucking them in just the post in general, or if it has to be when they're doing a drop step or a post spin, stuff like that. So very curious on that. I will evaluate a little bit further than that, but as of now, I'm going to put this badge in the C tier. I think your rarity of finding people who are going to be posting up is going to depend on what court you're on. If you're on 2s or 1v1, I would definitely recommend this badge as high as you can put it. But obviously for 3s or pro-am and stuff like that, probably not really worth running in the slightest bit at all. But again, decent glue badge in terms of playing 2v2 and 1v1 court. All right, so now we're into the B tier, and I tell you guys what, there are so many defensive badges in this game that are really good. You're gonna see this B, A, and S tier is just completely loaded, and I will recommend to you guys too, if you're making your build and you haven't already created it yet, the more defense, the better. If you're going to college, you can't really go wrong with +4 defense either. I mean, it's just crazy how many good defensive badges there are in this game. And if you're maybe an undersized and obviously you don't need the versatility to it, then probably you don't need like crazy amounts of defensive badges. But if you're a versatile defender, you're like 6'8" through 6'9", something like that, and you really want to be able to play like everything. You want to be able to switch with your big man and rebound well and defend the interior while still also defending the perimeter. I'm talking to you, and this is really good to have the versatility in terms of badges because there's so many that are good. So interceptor, pretty glue badge. We all know what it does, and it obviously does what you intend for it to do, and it's pretty good at it. So the reason I have this a little bit lower than some people might like is just the fact that when you go for a steal, I feel like you really get left in the dust if the dude doesn't actually pass the ball. So when you go for a passing lane and he doesn't pass it, and then just like that, you get your ankles broke off ball, and now you just got someone with a wide open 3-pointer, and you just cost your team 3 points because you just missed on a passing lane, or you went for a passing lane that didn't actually get passed. Anyway, I will say though, this is a really good badge on 2v2 for the situation of just this. On the inbounds, you can spam X the whole time, and it's only gonna make you go for the passing lane animation and like the passing lane steal when the dude actually throws the ball. So you can spam X all you want on 2s. It's really cheesy. It's really nasty. I did this last year on 21 too, and man, it was crazy when you had good steal combined with the interceptor and stuff like that. So I even made a video on it too in just 21 of how crazy interceptor was for 2v2 because of that you could spam X on the passing lanes for steals like that. So anyway, really good 2v2 badge. It's still a really good 3v3 in pro-am and all types of stuff like that badge. I just will say the one thing to knock about it is I feel like you really get a lot of bad animations when you go for a passing lane and don't get it in this game. So now we got pogo stick. So this badge was never ever in this tier in the last 2 games. So I'm talking 2K20 and then 2K21, also current and next gen. In current and next gen, this badge was really bad. It saw itself in the E tier, maybe even D tier, all throughout the course of the year. In 2K20, it never left this A tier threshold. Like I'm talking, it was either A or S. And for 2v2, it was S all the way. Now, pogo stick, I would say its effectiveness is right between those 2 games. I would say it's not as great as it was in 20. And it's definitely way better than it was in 21 of either gen. So I gotta say, pogo stick is definitely in the no man's land in terms of how good it is. I will say if you're playing 2v2 as an undersized or 1v1 as an undersized, it's a really important badge. It's gonna be really nice. It's also gonna help you against post scores where you go for a block on them and then you need to grab the rebound too, where you gotta jump again to get the board after contesting their shot super heavily, where they're super tall and they're gonna have the height on you in terms of just grabbing the rebound. But again, pogo stick, super convenient, and especially in 5s too. If you're playing the big man spot in a wreck and you got a lot of people maybe coming in at you in terms of like the slashing and finishing and stuff like that, or even just going for a mid-range fade or something like that, or a big man got to the ball underneath and he's going for the close shot. Again, it's super important for the double jumps, and it really is nice. And with how good fast twitch is in this game too as a finishing badge, where it helps you go up quicker, and I see a lot of these post scorers come out here and they'll sit underneath the basket and just spam pump fakes waiting for you to jump, and pogo stick is going to help you a lot against these people. So definitely a good badge. I put it in the B tier because I don't think it competes with any of these A tier badges, but you could make the case it's one of the higher B tier badges in here. But Then we're going to talk about worm and box. Box, just a necessity. I mean, you have to have this on bronze if you're playing big man at least, and I recommend at least silver too, because it's still the nice little budget where it doesn't cost you too much. When you get into that gold and Hall of Fame threshold on box, I feel like it might be a little bit of overkill because it starts costing you a lot of badge points. And considering, you know, all you're even equipping this badge for is if somebody has worm. So these two badges kind of go hand in hand. Obviously, worm is what forces you to put box on, and box kind of annoys you if you have worm, because then you stop worming people like crazy if they have super high box. So it is what it is. These two kind of go hand in hand. Again, I will say if you're a tall big, it makes sense to run worm, but if you're anything under like 6'10", I really would not touch the worm badge at all. You just need to rely on your speed and vertical to be getting your rebounds. If you're super tall and super slow, understandable to run the worm. You want to actually like spin around people and just kind of muscle your way through them if they're an undersized defender. So it is what it is. These badges both in the B tier. So now is where we get to the dangerous stuff, the really big impact badges. So we got Rim Protector and Chase Down, which kind of go hand in hand in terms of how effective they are for ISO defense, but also Rim Protector is really good for just the bigs and stuff like that, obviously. We have Intimidator, which also is really big in terms of ISO defense and really just on-ball defense in general, and even just in the post. Really, it's a great badge. And then Rebound Chaser, which in my opinion is by far the best rebounding badge of these three right here. Super important to run it. And really, I just gave a really quick description on these, but we'll talk just a little bit more on each of them. So Rim Protector also is going to give you and your teammates a takeover boost. It doesn't say that it does anymore in the description of the badge, but it actually does. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen my teammate Tonic, when he gets a Rim Protector with like gold with a block or anything like that, and my takeover actually does go up off of that. His own takeover goes up off of it. And if you run Rim Takeover with Rim Protector badge, that's going to be a crazy increase to your takeover. You add on that takeover perk of Accelerator, and just like that, you have Hall of Fame Rim Protector with double rim take, and you have the Accelerator takeover perk too. You're probably getting takeover in one block, if we're being completely honest. It's kind of crazy, but on top of that, it still helps you just block shots in general and just contest people in the paint. And it's a great badge, really. It even could see its way in the S tier, but that's debatable. I think the ones in the S are just by far like goated badges and just super crazy. Now, we'll talk about that combined with Chase Down Artist. Chase Down is just really good, but it's not going to be doing you that much if you don't have Rim Protector. So it's kind of just an add-on of Rim Protector, where if you're guarding ISO, I tell you what, man, this badge goes crazy. Chase Down blocks in general look really good this year, and even if you just have the badge on bronze, it's still looking really nice. I've seen this on gold myself, like equipping this, and I gotta say, it gives some crazy animations if you have good vertical, good speed. I think Chase Down is just a very specific thing though. You need to have good physicals, you need to have a good block rating, you need to have Rim Protector just to do all of these things. And with all that said though, Chase Down Artist is nasty. It's really good for getting the shot blocks. And honestly, if you're a big man or you're just super tall and you're trying to guard a point guard, it's super important too, because you got to play tight on these PGs this year in terms of stopping them from the three-pointers. And off of that, they're obviously going to drive if they're given the opportunity to, or they need to. And Chase Down Artist is going to save you if you're a big man trying to guard a PG this year. So for Intimidator, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It's very frustrating, the shot contest that you get in this game, but with that, if you don't have Intimidator and you don't have perimeter defense or anything like that, or you don't have just any form of shot contesting, it's going to be even more frustrating. I've seen it firsthand with Kitchen. This man has 40 perimeter defense and has no Intimidator, no nothing. He cannot contest a shot for his life. It's kind of crazy. Obviously, it's expected though, and it should be like that if he has such low defensive attributes and badges. But anyway, my point though, Intimidator, super necessary. You're going to want it 100% as high as you can put it, because shot contesting in this game is super hard to do, and really the only effective way to do it is to jump at people. Hands up defense is still good, but with blinders being how good it is, it's really frustrating to actually just try and get shot contest, simply put. But again, Intimidator is strictly here off of necessity. How hard it is to shot contest in this game, you need this badge as high as you can put it. So then again, we have Rebound Chaser. It's a simple explanation pretty much. I mean, it's as simple as helps you grab board. If you have good vertical, you have good speed as well, this is really going to carry you on rebounding. Me personally, on my 6'6", all I got to do is secure a box out, boom, get the rebound, simple. Unless it's like a crazy long bounce and the tall dude behind me, who I already had position on, is just going to grab the rebound because it went super far. It's obviously, you know, it's not the greatest. And I do only have the badge on silver too. Now, one thing that should be said about this badge, you need to have 99 rebound rating to have Hall of Fame, and you need 91 to have gold. So all this said, if you're going to have this badge, you already have really good rebounding too, like in terms of like the high levels pretty much, right? So it kind of is just a compounding thing in terms of your actual rebound rating. So I will say, if you're not running this on the highest level though, and you're playing a big man, or even if you're playing the lock, you don't have it on at least bronze or silver, you're kind of crazy if you ask me. This is a really good badge, really staple and glue badge that you need to have in terms of rebounding. All right, so into this S tier, we have some real devious badges right here. So Menace plus pickpocket, plus obviously high steal rating, which you need to have pickpocket anyway. But these two badges combined creates this exact meta on defense that you guys are seeing right now, where dudes are going for crazy steals. They are making you punished, like you are punished for just dribbling in front of a dude's face pretty much, and sometimes even just punished for running next to him and stuff like that. So anyway, what I believe the Menace is really good for is dropping ball handle of a opposing offensive player pretty much, right? So it's exactly why I feel like people are struggling to dribble right here, because if you have Hall of Fame Menace, I don't know exactly how much ratings are being dropped in terms of like when you are face guarding them or guarding them tight, but I can promise you they are, because the dudes are looking like they got lower ball handle out here. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to prevent you from speed boosting or anything like that, or, you know, make it so you can't use your dribble moves anymore. That's not the case. But the long story short is Menace badge makes you a menace on defense. That's really what it is. And then pickpocket doubles down on that and just makes you even more of a problem, where you're just going to be obviously wrecking havoc with this. Menace might even be something that's really important too in terms of lowering their 3-point rating, in the situation of you get a low contest, yet it's still making them shoot with a lower 3-pointer, which makes them less likely to make their whites even if it says open. I'm not sure what the range is on all this stuff yet. Same with like intimidator and stuff like that, right? But either way, Menace gotta be the S tier badge. Like, this is probably the best badge to run if you ask me, no matter what build you're on. Like, if you're on the interior or perimeter, Menace and Intimidator are like must-have badges regardless of where you're at on defense. Again, we've talked about pickpocket, and I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory in terms of if you actually have played the game and have seen anything, or even just watched videos and stuff like that. Pickpocket is definitely running these streets, and it's just making people suffer. I mean, it's pretty funny, but it's also like obviously not the best in terms of gameplay balance. I definitely would like to see pluck steals nerfed a little bit and bump steals buffed in terms of, you know, it create a good balance. If you have a couple pluck steals here and there where dudes are just dribbling right in your face and they're just spamming dribble moves, and you're just like, okay, bro, I'm going for the steal right here. Like, there's no reason I wouldn't. And I've been in situations like that myself. I would like to think I'm not spamming steals by any means. I'm just going for it at good times, and it's rewarded me pretty well for it. But again, pickpocket could definitely see a little bit of a nerf. This is probably, like, in terms of dominance, the best badge on this list right here. I just think Menace is a really cool badge in terms of, like, it helps you in any area, and Clamps is a very specific badge of just obviously on-ball defense. But we'll just go to Clamps next off of that. It's a very good badge. It helps me a lot in terms of like staying in front of people. It's pretty self-explanatory for what it does, but it's really nice in terms of sliding this year, bro. Like, I'm not saying sliding in a bad way on defense. I'm talking about sliding your feet and actually staying in front of the person you're defending and cutting them off and stuff like that too. Forces pickups. I have it on Hall of Fame. It's just a beautiful thing. Clamps on gold was even good for me as well. I don't know what silver looks like. I know a lot of builds get it on silver that I've seen in the park and stuff like that, but I would just recommend to put this badge on the highest level you can. Even bigs and stuff like that too. I mean, it creates versatility for you, and it lets you switch on to guards and stuff like that, where you're gonna be able to at least hold your own and then just stay in front of them to some extent. Now, you're gonna need more than just lateral quickness and clamps to be able to stay in front of guards. You need speed too, but obviously the badge is still very good and belongs in the S tier. So now for brick wall, I gotta say, you can just see by how long this badge description is that this is going to be a problem of a badge. So, to read this off, this badge makes it tougher for defenders to get around screens and harder for offensive players to back you down. Now, that's already a huge addition to this. This is literally moving truck inside of brick wall. That's already a crazy badge on top of that with those two things stacked. Now, to add to that, players hit by contact from a brick wall lose more energy than normal. At Hall of Fame level, this player sets vicious screens in the park or blacktop, bro. I mean, there are 4 descriptions to that badge right there. It's just crazy how many things this thing does, and it's literally bruiser combined with brick wall combined with moving truck, and all that considered. If you're playing 2s and you're the screen setter and you want to defend post scores and stuff like that too, and you want to fatigue the PG, make him struggle to get through screens and all that stuff, and you want to set just big body like walls pretty much, obviously this badge is huge. Now, here's the problem with it. I'm going to go ahead and I might even show you. I'm going to just do it. I'm going to show you guys what you have to have for speed. I'm going to show you the fastest build possible that can have Hall of Fame brick wall. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start from the tallest height and show the minimum weight and just kind of explain how fast you can be while still being tall and have the brick wall at its highest level. So for 7'3", you can't even put the weight down any farther than 230. So pretty much, to put it simply, you're going to be the minimum weight, and you'll still have 64 speed at 7'3". I'm not going to lie, I might even make a video on these 7'3s too, because they are kind of devious. They're kind of crazy, bro. So anyway, at 7'2", you can see we only have 94 interior defense with 67 speed, but we can tick the weight up by 1 and it puts the interior defense to 95. So just like that, you have 67 speed. If you go to 7'1", we can lower it just a little bit to the point where we have 69 speed, and then the wingspan doesn't change anything either, it's still max. But at 7 foot is going to be the best speed that you can do. So you're going to be able to have 70 speed with 95 interior defense. Now, that is very slow. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, as well as just the fact that you're 7 feet tall. But if you want to be the fastest you possibly can be while still having the Hall of Fame brick wall, this is what you got right here. So 70 speed. At 6'10", the most you can have is 68 speed. It's really, really tough. And I gotta say, to have this badge on Hall of Fame, you are going to be slow. It's gonna be just how it is. So anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. Like I said in the intros, try these 1 to 1,000 likes, and feel free to leave any feedback in the comments if you have any opinion on where I have these badges at. Feel free to, you know, I don't like when people get all offensive and stuff like that with, you know, where I put all these rankings and stuff like that. But leave your comments however you want to. I don't really care at the end of the day. And, you know, I would love to see the feedback from the people who actually do care and, you know, want to give kind of insightful just notices to me and stuff like that, and let me know what they think of the badges and stuff like that. So anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, put defense in the comments so it supports me all the way through. And like I said, if we can get this to 1,000 likes, I'd really appreciate that. Other than that, stay tuned for the playmaking badge tier list that's coming probably tomorrow. And then we're also going to do the takeovers and takeover perks. I will do shooting eventually, but obviously I'm not too hands-on with the shooting personally right now. I've experienced it like secondhand through my point guards and stuff like that, of what they think of the badges and all that stuff, and even my spot ups too. But either way, I'm going to save the shooting for last so I can kind of just get a grip on things, and like I said, maybe just take in and soak in more information and stuff like that. So anyway, stay tuned for all that. I hope y'all enjoy. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.